తల్లి ఏమైందమ్మా బంగారు తల్లి పిచ్చితల్లి పిచ్చితల్లి పిచ్చితల్లి
కామేష్ సార్ మీరు వాయిస్ మ్యూట్ లో పెట్టండి సార్.
ఓకే. హలో
Sir, shall we start?
Madam, you can start, madam.
Yes, sir. A very good evening and a warm welcome back to all the participants, to our speaker, the coordinator and co-coordinator of the session, to the AICTE ATAL sponsored FDP on the novel and contemporary research in clinical research and clinical trials organized by Nirmala College of Pharmacy, Department of Pharmacology and Pharmacy Practice. So successfully, as we have completed 4 days of sessions, we are happy to say that we are on to the 5th day. Today we have the respected speaker, Dr. T. Satish Garu, Senior Clinical Research Associate from Syneos Health. Sir will be discussing today on 2 topics. The first topic will be on safety monitoring in clinical trials, followed by interactions. And the second topic will be approaches for post-marketing surveillance studies, where we'll be having one more interaction session. For this purpose, like we are doing daily, I request the participants to drop your questions in the chat box during the session so that we'll be discussing the questions at the end. Before we move into the introduction of a speaker, I request all the participants to turn on your cameras for a minute so that we'll have a screenshot. I request all the participants to turn on your cameras for a minute, please.
Everyone, please. Ma'am, only some of them have switched on their videos.
Yes. Ms. Shailu, Harshashree, Sister Veena, Narsimhanayak sir. Just for a minute, participants, please. Ma'am, is it done?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all. So now I request the chairperson of today's session, Mrs. M. Shanti, Assistant Professor in the Department of Pharmacology and Pharmacy Practice of Nirmala College of Pharmacy, to introduce our guest speaker to the audience. Mrs. Shanti, ma'am, hearty welcome to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Asha, ma'am, I'm audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. This is Shanti, Assistant Professor, Department of Pharmacology and Pharmacy Practice from Nirmala College of Pharmacy. Let me take the honor of introducing our resource person, Dr. T. Satish sir, a Senior Clinical Research Associate from Syneos Health, India, with 8 years of experience in the pharmaceutical industry, CRO combined with the research sites. Sir has a strong knowledge of ICH, GCP and applicable regulation. He has proven success in managing phase 2, 3 and 4 clinical trials and hands-on experience in site feasibility, site selection, initiation, monitoring and closeout visits. He has been establishing and maintaining trusting relationships with global clinical teams. In addition, Sir has a portfolio of therapeutic area expertise which includes oncology, pulmonology, endocrinology, COVID-19, immunology, ophthalmology, nephrology, and dermatology. He did his Master of Pharmacy in Pharmacology and Bachelor of Pharmacy from Nagarjuna University, and his work experience is Clinical Research Associate in Lambda Therapeutic Research Limited, Chennai, Clinical Research Associate in NMC Healthcare, Abu Dhabi, Clinical Research Associate in Therapeutic Research Limited, Hyderabad, and Executive Clinical Research Associate in Biocad India Private Limited at Bangalore. For his excellence, Sir gained certifications like Protecting Human Research Participants from PHRP Online Training LLC, certification on ICH GCP guidelines from IQVIA, GCP E6R2 from NIDA, Clinical Trial Network, etc. It is our privilege to have with such a knowledgeable and experienced resource person for this session. Thank you. Welcome, sir. Satish, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much for warm welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. It's an honor to be, in place of Nirmala College to present some, good topics like safety and clinical trials and post-marketing surveillance. So I would like to especially thanks to Dr. Vinay Kumar, who approached me to these two presentations long back, and I continuously in follow up with me to present these two topics. Since I'm working with clinical trials in different projects with multinational companies, so I can give a detailed practical experience related issues or information to you people to to understand practicality when it comes to clinical trials specifically. So can I share my screen?
Yes, Dr. Satish, you can share your screen.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, it is visible. Can you please make it in slideshow? Can you opt for slideshow option?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, now it is visible.
Is it visible to everybody? Am I audible to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so safety monitoring in clinical trials. See here, I would like to emphasize safety. Safety we are emphasizing because we are doing experimental clinical drugs on the participants or subjects we call in clinical trials. So I would like to ask one question before I moving to the next slides. Like the question, let me put it in this way. Is any drug which are using in the world without any side effects? Is there any drug is in the world? I just want to ask you people like.
No, sir.
Possibly no drug. Possibly no drug
right?
is there without any side effects.
Yeah. So here is why the safety concerns are in place in clinical trials, because already approved and marketed drugs having side effects. So if we dealing with the clinical trials with experimental drugs, so the safety is more concerned and very important. So monitoring patient safety during clinical trials is very critical component throughout this drug development life cycle. So mainly here, the pharmaceutical sponsors must work proactively and collaboratively with all stakeholders to ensure a systematic approach to the safety monitoring. Since clinical trials are very narrow, and I think before COVID, I think major of the population doesn't know the clinical trials, how they do conduct, and what are those like. But because of this COVID, and even normal people can understand, some clinical trials are going on, and vaccine is going, it's going to come in soon days or in a month, something like that, and phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So then people, like laypersons also understood, there are clinical trials. So in clinical trials, we do practice the participants' rights and safety and well-being of subjects. So in order to conduct clinical trials, we should follow some standards. Those are ISA-GCP and CIOMS and ethical principles set forth and Declaration of Health and Safety. These are some standards or guidelines which we have to follow in order to conduct clinical trials in the world, basically. But each country having specific regulatory, not regulatory, sorry, guidelines. Like in India, CDSO, they have their own guidelines, and if you see some European countries, they follow ISA-GCP like that. So here, safety monitoring goal is to understand, like evaluate, ensure the safety of the participants, and evaluate the risk of the study intervention, like IP or device, which are using for the for the clinical use. The stakeholders are in clinical trials or sponsors who are pharmaceutical companies and regulatory bodies. When it comes to regulatory bodies, I can tell you in the next slides in detail. Investigators who are practice doctors, and IRB, institutional review board or independent ethics committees, monitors, and participants who are patients or healthy volunteers, it depends on the trial, and public and private entities who are indirectly or directly involving in the clinical trials. So in a nutshell, clinical trial is a symptomatic intervention in the human subjects for evaluating the safety and efficacy of any new drug. Clinical trials are set of tests in medical research and drug development that generate safety and efficacy data for the health interventions in human beings. So I would like to discuss on the each and individual who are stakeholders in safety monitoring. Here, I would like to start with the sponsors, who are the pharmaceutical companies. They are the persons who start with, one kind of clinical trial or on some, indication, whatever it is. So these sponsors usually, work on developing the protocol. Protocol is set of kind of SOP, or it's kind of, I can say it's kind of guidelines which we have to follow for that particular study. The protocol describes every aspect of research, including rationale for experiment objectives, trial population with the detailed inclusion-exclusion criteria, administration of investigational therapies, trial procedures, data collection, standards, endpoint and sample size. Protocol also details the safety reporting procedures, especially requirement for the expedited reports of serious adverse events. So protocol will tell you how to conduct the trial at hospitals, and because of this we will follow the safety, and we will get the output of whatever we are actually searching for in the trial. The sponsor will also create informed consent form. He will prepare informed consent form for the particular project. So this will disclose current information about the investigational drug, the study drug, and about the procedures, risk and benefits for the subject who participate in the clinical trial. So who are interested in the study or trial in at the hospital, so the patient will read and understand in their local language, and they will give their own consent to that particular study to participate in that trial. So this will be their own language, in the patient own language. And if patient is illiterate, there will be a impartial witness who will come and he will discuss in detail about the ICF. He will tell in their local language to understand more clear. Then that will be get signatured by the patient and the PI, who is doctor, and then the document will be given to the patient for the reference purpose whenever it is required for his use. When it comes to CRF, case report forms, this will be prepared by the sponsor even itself, and designed by the sponsor as data collection tools. Whatever the data which is generated by the generated in the hospital, that will be documented or entered in the ECRF, which is electronic. Now everything is electronic, and they have softwares like Inform and Medidata and Business. There are too many softwares came into the world of clinical research, and depends on their strength. The sponsors are using their own CRFs. So in addition to the protocol and ICF, sponsors are responsible for setting up and maintaining clinical database for data collected in the trial. So subject is a patient or a healthy volunteers who agree to participate in clinical trial, who signed the ICF. Here, the patient maybe understand the study, and he is free to withdraw his consent at any time in the clinical trials. He should agree, and he has to follow the project specific visits as dictated by the principal investigator in the trial. Investigators are who qualified and who trained and experienced to provide a medical care to subjects enrolled in the trial. Investigators identify potential subjects and educate them about trial participation to ensure that they can make an informed decision, so that the investigators are expected to adhere to the protocol treatment plan to delivering care. So here the investigator plays a very crucial role, because any study comes to the hospital, and PI has to be experienced, and he has to identify the potential patients to tell about the product, the study to the patient, and he has to convince the patient to come into the study. That's how the scenario, and practically it's more on like this. So institutional review board or ethics committee is known as ethics committee, is charged with protecting rights and welfare of human subjects recruited to participate in research protocols conducted under auspices of institutions to which IRB is affiliated. So here IRB also plays a good role in protecting the safety and well-being of the subjects who are participating in the trials. So these people are present from the protocol review, from starting from the protocol review to the protocol closeout visit for the particular study. So here they have their SOP, and they should register under their the country level regulatory authorities, and they have their timelines to see the safety of the participants in the studies. Data and Safety Monitoring Board. This is also kind of collecting the information about the protocol, about the study, and understand whether it is going to be useful for the human beings or not. So that's how this DSMB will start work on, and they do interim analysis while the study is ongoing, and they collect the information, and they understand, they evaluate the risk and benefit ratio, and based on that the study will move on. Otherwise it will stop in between and the study can be terminated. So here regulatory authorities, prior to initiation of first in human clinical trials, pharmaceutical sponsors must submit an investigational new drug application to the FDA as required by the law. So the FDA reviews the IND. Typically, it will take 30 calendar days for safety to ensure the research subjects will not subject to unreasonable risks. So we have own regulatory authorities. So they do review each protocol, and it depends on the if it is new drug entity that have their own timelines for review, and if it is comparative model of study, then that is having having some timelines for review by the regulatory authorities. Once it's something like kingmaker, and it is going to be like from starting from approval for the protocol to conduct the trial at hospitals, from there to approve that the study data and give a marketing authorization for releasing that drug to the markets. Here are the patients and medical community. Clinical trials generate data that contributes to the body of knowledge about the treatment and disease that benefits the broader medical community and ultimately the patients. So most of the times the clinical trials are benefiting to the patients because it depends on the indication specifically. So sometimes the safety concern is also very, very important when it comes to cancer, oncology clinical trials. So here I can see it depends on the patients who actually can affordable to the treatment. Sometimes they go to the normal already marketed drugs, and if patient is not able to pay the medical bill, they go for clinical trials sometimes. So it usually happens in oncology clinical trials because none of the oncology trials are not great enough to the patient will come out with cure or some healthy patient in a long term. So here the communicating safety information among stakeholders. The safety information like adverse events or serious adverse events, timely communication among the various stakeholders is very critical to ensure subject safety in clinical trials. So here the protocol itself specifies some details of assessments and frequency, and even ICF also will detailed about the requirement of the assessment and frequency and length of the follow-up in the trial. In addition, most pharmaceutical sponsors have standard operating procedures in place to collect, process, review, evaluate, report, and communicate accumulating safety data to ensure a systematic approach to safety surveillance and monitoring. So safety information, which including adverse events and laboratory findings, are reported to the sponsors by the investigators conducting in clinical trial. And another way to communicate the evolving safety information is through periodic update of investigator brochure, which will be submitted during the clinical trial starting stage, the complete data of the IP, and based on that the PI and the ethics committee and the regulatory bodies will accept based on the benefits to the patients. The goal of safety monitoring in clinical trials is to identify, evaluate, minimize, and appropriately manage these risks. There are statistical methods in safety monitoring. So those are like methods for single-arm trial, methods for randomized controlled trial, and hypothetical clinical trial example. So when it comes to single arm trial, it will be one, only the drug will be given, the study drug will be given, and nothing else will be in the study. Methods for randomized and controlled trials. So here there is a process called interactive web randomization system, which we are using presently. So that will be used for randomization to to avoid the bias of the outcome of the endpoint of the trial. Like if we are checking the efficacy, and it should not be biased by some reason. So in that way, the randomization will helpful for the clinical trials. So I think this is a very short presentation, but I can tell you the clinical trial is very complex, and it's not like theoretically how we read in the books. And when it comes to patient, he has to know the responsibilities in the study when it comes to clinical trials, and his confidentiality also matters, being a participant in the clinical trials. So yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please continue.
Yeah, I think I'm done with this presentation. If you have any doubts, please go ahead with it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That was not a short, sir. It was a very clear, like other than the regular subject, what we listen to, and this is what a different concept what our participants have gone through. I hope that was very useful for everyone. I request the
Okay.
participants to come up with questions if you have. Otherwise, if sir accepts, we'll take a 5-minute break and we'll continue, or else, sir, it's up to you, sir. Shall we give a 5-minute break or we'll continue with the session?
Yeah. Well, we can take 5 minutes break, I think.
Yes, sir. Okay. So, participants, are there any questions further? So, if there are no questions, we'll move for the break. It's 7:40 around, so we'll be here by 7:45 again. We'll start the second session by sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Dear participants, welcome back to you all. I once again remind you that this is going to be a very useful sessions for us, where we have a possibility of direct interaction with the academicians and the industrialists as well. So if anybody wants to interact directly by unmuting yourself, those who are not willing to share the questions in the chat box, you are open for the questions for any other discussions with the speaker. I hope you all are back after the break. Once Dr. Satish sir is ready, we'll start the second session, and the topic is going to be the approaches for post-marketing surveillance studies. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to you, sir, again. The session is over to you. You can please proceed, sir.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah. Am I audible to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Your screen is
also
visible.
visible?
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Okay. So my next topic is approaches for post-marketing surveillance. Here I would like to tell you some story here. Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Okay. I just want to tell some story here before I start with post-marketing surveillance. Initially, when the clinical trials started, and recruiting patients for some indication and trying for some endpoint, and there were no post-marketing surveillance. Because once the regulatory approves, and they used to marketing the drug and distribute to the consumers, and it will go on like that. And later on they realized already approved medications having major risks related to adverse events or serious adverse events, or some major effects like birth defects, or we all know, I mean, theoretically we all know in clinical trials what is history, why this post-marketing this marketing surveillance came in picture. It will call pharmacovigilance here. So the pharmacovigilance means we know that keep watching the medicine, right? So after marketing the drug, we do check the efficacy kind of, and safety, not efficacy, sorry, and safety we are going to check here particularly, and how the side effects are, and other parameters, like whether it is completely effective to the particular disease or indication, or the side effects are more, or adverse events are more. So based on that, again, the regulatory bodies rethink again for that particular drug, and some drugs may recall for the re-review, and some drugs may ban because of some bad reasons. If some good reason happens, like nothing is nothing is happen, or good what we call like good efficacy and no side effects, there will be a side effect, but majorly like benefit is more to the patients, and that can be given a green signal for complete marketing authorization, and they will get patent if it is an innovative molecule. So here I'm going to discuss the post-marketing surveillance introduction and benefits of the PMS, source for this PMS and types of surveillance, method of surveillance, manufacturer PMS system, report to MedWatch. So I think we are number of times I think you will get irritated by seeing this slide, I think. But anyway, I just want to tell a little bit, like start with phase 0 microdosing, and we are at phase 4, that is post-marketing surveillance. Here we are going to evaluate in real clinical setting. Safety in clinical trials, we already discussed. So the regulatory bodies who already given approval, they will see in this way, like they start with the preclinical safety and biological activity in preclinicals, and phase 1 safety and dosage they do check, and phase 2 and phase 3 they do check safety and efficacy. Once everything is seems to be beneficial to the patient, then those drugs can be approved. And after the approval, the post-marketing surveillance or post-marketing monitoring will start up. So there, this topic can start. So everywhere, these safety concerns can be noted, and these can be, strategically, mitigate the risks, and that can be moved forward for the marketing authorization. And depends on the, if the benefits are very less, then the drug can be reformed or something like that. Here I can say that most of the Indian pharmaceutical companies, they won't invest too much time in the innovating the molecules or innovating some drugs for the some indications, because they don't want to waste the time actually. So they do comparative studies, like they want to market the drug within 2-3 days, 3-4 years, within 3-4 years. So they do check the comparative studies and biosimilars kind of, and easily they can they can market the product with similar efficacy, which is already there in the market. So here is the definition. Post-marketing surveillance refers to any means of obtaining information about product after it has been approved for public use. So this is like section 50503 authorizes FDA to require certain post-marketing studies and clinical trials for prescription drugs approved under section 505B and biological products approved under section 351. So here, post-marketing surveillance of drug, therefore, play an important role to discover the undesirable effect that might present its risk. It provides additional information on benefits and risks of the drug. Post-marketing surveillance is, having no fixed duration, patient population, starts immediately after marketing, and reports to all report all adverse drug reactions, help to detect rare adverse drug reactions, drug interactions, also new uses for drugs. So these are the post-marketing surveillance has. So limitations of pre-marketing clinical trials. Here, before marketing, very less chances to get more information about particular drug or device, because the size of the patient population studies very less and narrow population. Often not providing sufficient data on specific special groups, narrow indications studied, and short duration of this trial. So here, the benefits of post-marketing monitoring is ability to study the low frequency reactions, high risk groups, long-term effects, drug-drug or drug-food food interactions, increased severity, and reporting frequency of known reactions. In post-marketing surveillance, we can able to understand the benefits or the negative, risk, or we sometimes find out the same medication can be useful for other indications sometimes, and that can be good for the entire universe, like patients particularly. So sources of post-marketing surveillance information, this the sources can get from experts, user groups, customer services, and customer compliance and warranty claims, post-CE market clinical trials, literature reviews, and the media. These are the sources. From them, post-marketing surveillance information we can get. So types of post-marketing surveillance, there are, I think, 3 were there: spontaneous or voluntary reporting of cases, which includes like national MedWatch, FDA MedWatch, local or regional joint commission requirements, scientific literature publications. That comes under spontaneous, reporting of cases. Post-marketing studies, which includes observational studies, randomized clinical trials. And third one, active surveillance, which contains drug-induced liver injury network, Sentinel initiative. Here, spontaneous reports define this in terms of like a communication from an individual to a company or regulatory authorities. Here, the healthcare professional or consumer will directly report it to company or regulatory authority. Describe suspected adverse events, passive or voluntary reports we can see here. Factors affecting reporting, that is media attention, litigations, the class of action lawsuit, nature of adverse event, types of drug product and indication, length of time on market, and extent and quality manufacturing surveillance system, RX or OTC product status, reporting regulations. These are the factors affecting reporting. How post-marketing report get to FDA? This will start with patient, consumer, healthcare professionals. It will be start with voluntarily. and some may start with reporting to FDA MedWatch, and that is very less and 5% of all reports. And usually voluntarily the patients or consumers or healthcare professionals will inform to manufacturer will inform to the regulatory FDA, and in this way all reports, approximately 95%, this will be in FDA adverse event report system. So FDA adverse event reporting system is called FAIRS, computerized database, spontaneous reports, which contains it contains human drug and therapeutic biologic reports. Since 1969, more than 7 million reports are submitted in FAIRS. FAIRS strength includes all US marketed products, include all users. Here include broad patient population, elderly, children, pregnant women, and comorbidities. Basically, FAIRS and Sentinel systems, which are used using in post-marketing surveillance in different ways to get the information, particularly on the safety. Simple, relatively inexpensive reporting system, especially good for event with rare background rate. These are the strengths for FAIRS. So useful for event that occurs shortly after exposure, and detection of events not seen in clinical trials, signal generation, identification of trends, possible risk factors, population and other clinical significant emerging safety concerns, which related to FAIRS. The safety signals here to report information on possible causal relationship between an adverse event and drugs. The relationship being previously unknown or incompletely documented, supported by multiple case reports, new unlabeled adverse events, and an observed increase in labeled event or greater severity or specificity. A new interaction, newly identified at-risk populations. These are the safety signals which will be used in the FAIRS. By using a data mining, here mathematical tool identifies higher than expected frequency of product event combinations. Tools for hypothesis generation, supplements FAIRS data review, does not replace expert clinical case review. So developing a case series is to identify a well-documented case in FAIRS, published literature, data mining, or other sources to identify a safety signal. Using our knowledge of clinical scores of the disease, formulate a case definition which may include both clinical features and laboratory findings, sometimes even demographic information if believed the safety signals is a specific population. Complete a thorough database search for additional cases. So regulatory actions, they may, based on the adverse event, they may take an actions for changing the labels. Those are like warnings, precautions, adverse reactions. Pharmacovigilance activities, enhanced surveillance, example, expedited reporting, registry, epidemiology studies. So the regulatory bodies, based on the response from the systems identified, so the regulatory bodies will impose some activities to get the information from the particular drug. Risk evaluation and mitigation strategy, communication plan, restricted use. Drug safety communication, market withdrawal. These are the regulatory actions can be taken based on the in the post-marketing surveillance. Methods of surveillance. There are 4 methods: controlled clinical trials and spontaneous or voluntary recording, cohort studies, case control studies. Controlled clinical trials, to minimize bias through such method as randomization, directly monitor patients for duration of studies, for evaluating a drug efficacy and safety. There are often costly when it comes to controlled clinical trials. Spontaneous reporting, a communication from an individual, example, healthcare professionals, consumers, to a company or regulatory authority. This describes suspected adverse events, but actually incidents of adverse drug reactions cannot be determined through spontaneous reporting. So it's kind of lack of information here. Third one, cohort studies. These studies follow a defined group of patients for the period of time. Patients are not randomly assigned. So even this is a kind of not having a great benefit from these studies. Case control studies identify the patients with adverse effects to be studied and compare them with sample drawn from the same cohort that gives rise to the cases. So manufacturers, post-marketing surveillance system. These are the sum of types, knowledge, and feedback which can be achieved. So these systems can detection of some manufacturing problems, and they do check the product quality improvement and confirmation of risk analysis, and knowledge of long-term performance, reliability, and chronic complications can understand by the system. So knowledge of performance and different users population, and getting feedback on indication of use and instruction of use, and use with other devices, and customer satisfaction, and continuing market viability you can get in the system. And how to report the MedWatch. I can show here. Reporting in MedWatch is patient identifier. The details can be mentioned in the electronic database, and product information, which the product the patient has been taken, an event or problems, what the adverse event or what problem it should be written there, and reporter has to be there, and I mean we have to mention that. So this is about the post-marketing surveillance. So in nutshell, I can say that post-marketing surveillance also works on the safety of the patients, and we are searching for the effectiveness of the drug, and safety is major concern because we are dealing with the experimental medications. So that's all about my presentation for this second one. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for bringing us a clear picture of what exactly happens behind the screen. Like we all study in the books and what we teach, and that's a different picture from what exactly happens, sir. Thank you very much for making it clear. I hope all the faculty got benefited with the session. So shall we move forward for questions? If any questions are there. Participants, if you're all are alert, I request you to come up with any questions and interaction with the speaker. I request Dr. Vinay Kumar sir, the coordinator of the program, to come up with the end note for today's session by sharing the certificate of gratitude to the resource person. Vinay sir.
Dear all participants, thank you for joining the session, today's session. Today's resource person, Mr. T. Satish, Senior Clinical Research Coordinator, Synos Health, Bangalore. Dear sir, thank you for accepting our kind request. And also within time you have given an excellent presentation. So that was a nice presentation regarding post-marketing surveillance and all.
Thank you.
So
Sir?
please, sir, accept our gratitude of certificate, sir, in the form of certificate. So I would like
just
to.
a second, sir. Sorry to interrupt. We just have one question. We'll go with it and then we'll go for the certificate, sir.
Yes,
just one question. Sorry for interruption, sir. So Dr. Satish sir, there's a question who's asking Ms. Prashant Kumari Mantada. She's asking that what is the optimum sample size for PMS study?
There is no sample size actually. It's inevitable, like infinity. How many patients we are going to see? It depends on. It's not depending. Like it's infinity.
Thank you, sir.
In
Thank
the
you.
PMS, yeah.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir, Vinay, sir, please carry on, sir.
Yeah. So I invite Dr. Shreya madam for displaying the certificate. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So Dr. Satish, please accept our certificate of gratitude.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. Soon we'll post you the certificate through the mail.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So, dear participant, thank you for joining today's session. I could see around 33 joined in today's session. So I thank each and everyone for making your time convenient for this attending the ATAL FDP. And as already I said that tomorrow, Saturday, is the end of the session. Online sessions is the last date. So by tomorrow, after completion of the session, last session, so we'll be posting the link for examination in the chat box only. So as per ATAL guidelines, you should not use like WhatsApp groups and all. So every link, whatever we are going to forward, so that link has to be forwarded only in the Zoom chat box. So that's why, please don't mind. So tomorrow by 9:30, we'll be sharing the link for exam, MCQ exam, and that exam you need to that MCQ exam you need to submit your responses for 20 questions. There will be 20 questions, and once you click on that link, please remember that if you click on the link, only 30 minutes will be given to complete the exam, and also for one person only once a chance will be given, one chance will be given, no second chance will be given, because once if you log in by using your credentials into that link, so you need to complete the exam by 30 minutes. That is the instructions they have given, and the same responses will be uploaded in the ATAL portal. So please convey this message to your fellow faculty members, those who are not here. So those who are from your college or neighboring colleges, you please convey your message to them. Okay.
Sir, shall we post the feedback link and attendance for today?
Yeah, I'm posting, madam.
Yes. So, dear participants, kindly fill the feedback form for today's session, as well as the attendance form. Once again, on behalf of the team of Nirmala College of Pharmacy, I thank Dr. Satish sir for giving such a wonderful presentation.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it's very honor to get this, like these presentations. It's my first time actually. I can say giving to the lecturers particularly. So
It was not like your first time, sir. It was not like that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. And my special thanks to Dr. Vinay Kumar. His guidance is more precious for me to tell in this way actually. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Satish. Yeah, I thank all the participants once again. So please mark your attendance by using the form which is present in the chat box, and also please give your valuable feedback regarding this session and also regarding all the sessions also. Thank you. I'm signing off for today. So tomorrow. Yeah.
Vinay sir, participants are asking for MCQ test timing, sir. They want you to repeat it.
Yeah, MCQ test timings by tomorrow evening. By tomorrow evening after completion of the session, maybe it may be 9 or 9:30. So by 9, I will be sharing the link of exam. That exam you need to complete it by Sunday morning. So up to Sunday 12 o'clock we are giving the time. But once if you click on the link, but the link will be inactive only for 30 minutes. So don't think that I can open the link Saturday and I can write the exam on the Sunday. It's not like that. If you click on the link, you need to complete exam by 30 minutes. The timer will be scrolled down in that link. So automatically exam link will be closed after 30 minutes. So that is the thing. So if you want to open on the Sunday morning, you can open and you can complete your exam, but within 30 minutes after opening the link. So you need to submit all the questions are in the MCQ format only. You need to attend all the questions. You need to attempt all the questions. That is 20 questions you need to attempt in the 30 minutes. So still, if you have any doubts, you can contact me. My number is there in the participant group. Hope you understand. I think Mrs. Prashant Kumari M. I think, madam, is it clear, madam, regarding MCQ and all?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, welcome, madam. Most welcome.
Okay, so then if everything is done, we'll sign off for today. Thank you, participants, for joining. Tomorrow, the last online session we'll be having. So we request all of you to join without fail, because you'll be getting instructions for the offline sessions as well tomorrow evening. Thank you all for joining once again. Good night. Signing off for today. Once you complete filling the forms, you can leave the meeting.